used to believe in anchors. In steady things, in safe harbors. That's what David was for me. My anchor, my harbor. For 22 years, I let myself float in the certainty of us. He was laughter over morning coffee. His hand brushing mine when we crossed the street, the warmth at my back on cold nights. Even after all this time, he still called me Ellie. Never Eleanor. Only my mother used my full name, usually when I was in trouble. From him, Ellie meant belonging. One evening last spring, we were sitting in the backyard, the lilacs just beginning to bloom, the sky painted with a bruised kind of purple. I had my sketchbook open. I restore old furniture, and sometimes I doodle plans before I sand or paint. He teased me about how serious I looked. "You always squint when you're focused," he said, tapping the corner of his eye. I laughed, swatted his arm. He reached for my hand, gave it a squeeze, and leaned back in his chair. It was such a small moment. But I remember thinking then, this is happiness. Not fireworks, not grand gestures. Just knowing someone so well that even their silences feel like home. I never imagined silence could also be a weapon. The unraveling started, as most disasters do, with something ordinary. David handed me an old laptop one Saturday morning, setting it on the kitchen counter while I was elbow-deep in sanding dust from a cabinet door. "Can you wipe this for me?" he asked. "I'm finally clearing out the attic. Thought you could back up the family photos first." That was David. Organized, thoughtful, always tying loose ends. Later I brewed a cup of tea, sat down and powered it up. The familiar hum made me oddly nostalgic. I remembered using it to plan our 10th anniversary trip to Florence. I moved the family photos onto an external drive, my fingers tracing the years. Vacations, birthdays, quiet Christmas mornings. Then, in a corner of the documents folder, I saw it. Password protected. It tugged at me. Not suspicion, not yet. Just curiosity. David was meticulous, but why lock one folder? I tried his usual password, our wedding date. Our daughter Emma's birthday. On a whim, I typed the name of his childhood dog, the one he always joked about. Buttons. The folder opened. Inside were spreadsheets, receipts, files organized year by year. Nothing unusual at first. Groceries, utilities, mortgage. But then one entry repeated, every month for 15 years. Studio maintenance fee. Same amount. Same day each month. We didn't own a studio. First I laughed. Mistake surely. Maybe some old investment he forgot to mention. A storage unit. A side project. But the laughter curdled into unease. I searched the address linked to the payments. A converted warehouse across town. In a neighborhood David never had reason to visit. My chest tightened. I opened old calendars, scanned through his business trips. The ones I never questioned. Always so reasonable. Conferences, meetings, overnight stays. Except the dates aligned too neatly with the payments. And then the memories began to rot. The silk scarf he gave me on our 15th anniversary, so unlike his usual gifts. Was it guilt-wrapped in tissue paper? The night he returned late, smelling faintly of turpentine, claiming he'd had drinks with colleagues. I thought nothing of it then. I thought nothing of so many things. Every moment replayed itself in a harsher light, as though someone had taken my memories and overexposed them. I couldn't sleep. For 3 nights, I stared at the ceiling, feeling the weight of something I couldn't name pressing down on me. Finally, I drove to the address. The building loomed, red brick, weathered, with a single metal door. My palms were slick as I pushed it open. The air smelled of linseed oil, turpentine, and faintly of roses. Inside, light spilled from tall windows, illuminating canvases propped against the walls. Dozens of them. Paintings. Each one captured the same woman. She was beautiful, not model perfect, but real. High cheekbones, dark hair streaked with silver, eyes that seemed to follow me. Some portraits were soft studies of her laughing, some solemn. One showed her pregnant, hand curved protectively over her belly. And then the child. A girl, painted again and again, from infancy to adolescence. In one she clutched a stuffed rabbit. In another, she leaned against her mother's shoulder. In the most recent, she sat cross-legged on the floor, sketching, her mouth curved in concentration. She had David's eyes. That unmistakable green flecked with gold. His smile lopsided and tender. I couldn't breathe. On a desk lay a framed photograph. David. The woman. The girl. Arms looped around each other, beaming at the camera. Family. My husband's family. I stumbled back, the walls tilting, the canvases blurring together. My throat ached with the scream I couldn't release. 15 years. 15 years of a parallel life, painted stroke by stroke, hidden in plain sight. That evening I sat in the living room, every light turned off. When David walked in, humming under his breath, I almost didn't recognize him. The man who kissed my cheek, asked about my day, set his keys in the bowl by the door. Was he ever mine? He paused when he saw me. Ellie, why are you sitting in the dark? My voice was calm, steadier than I felt. Who is Maya? The name slipped from me like a knife. I'd seen it on a letter in the studio, addressed to the woman. His face drained of color. The humming silence stretched, unbearable. Ellie! Don't, I said sharper. My hands clenched around the armrest. Don't you dare lie to me now. He opened his mouth, closed it again. His shoulders slumped, as though some great weight had finally pressed him into the floor. I never wanted you to know, he whispered. The confession spilled out ragged and broken. Maya had been a colleague once. It started as friendship, became something else. When she became pregnant, he couldn't abandon her. He supported them, built a life for them, secret, separate. I love you, Ellie, he said, tears brimming. I always have. But I love them too. I couldn't choose. I stared at him, my pulse cold and hollow. The man before me was both stranger and husband, liar and lover. Our marriage, the foundation of my life, wasn't just fractured. It had never existed as I thought it did. I was the other life. The ghost. That night I didn't scream. I didn't cry. I sat in silence, the same silence that once felt like home. Now it was a cavern. I thought about our years together, every memory rethreaded with deceit. Our laughter, our arguments, our anniversaries, all built on sand. Was love ever real if it was shared, divided, rationed? David wept. I watched. Cold. And in that stillness I realized. I wasn't mourning the loss of him. I was mourning the loss of myself. The Eleanor who believed in anchors, in harbors, in the safety of love. That woman was gone. All that remained was this truth, sharp and unyielding. I had been living in someone else's story. And now, at last, it was time to write my own.